Hello everyone, Big Sam here, and today I'm back with an Umbra build, and I want all the Umbra mains to hear me out because I did something, let's say, a little bit unorthodox. So, that is something for later. First, we go over his abilities, like usual. So, first of all, we got the passive, which has two parts. One part is Umbra is so far the only sentient Warframe. I'm not talking about like the sentience that you fight or like the faction of sentience, but he's the one that has sentience and like he has his own will and he can fight. Basically, that translates into him fighting when you go into operator mode. And we're not going to be using that, like that part, we're not going to be using it because in Steel Path it gets dangerous, because instead of your Warframe sitting there invulnerable, he gets damaged. And basically, you can be killed because you let him fight on his own. So, the second part is he gets 10% attack speed and deals 10% extra damage when using swords. Now to his first ability, it's called Slash Dash, and basically that's what the ability does. You slash through enemies, you dash between enemies, and you slash them on the way. And so, this ability has something weird, like you could use it to basically mitigate some of the damage that might kill you, but the thing is, it mitigates, or it makes your health invincible, but your shield still breaks during the animation. So it's not really the best thing to rely on for survivability, and we'll see a fix for that. And for his second ability, we are using Eclipse instead of Radial Howl. Radial Howl is a blind in an AoE around you. And so if you want to subsume anything onto Excalibur, you take off his Radial Howl, because when you use his 4, any slide attack is a Radial Howl at half the energy cost. And most of the time you're going to keep his 4 active almost always. And we're not really using Eclipse for the X. Hello, so Sam from the future here. Actually, after further testing, because this was more of like, a video that I recorded not testing. I think that Nourish is better than Eclipse, because I noticed that thing with Eclipse that makes it so my energy runs out super quick, and so I can't really keep the ability up, like my 4th ability, and because I have to constantly redo the buffs or like reset them, it takes too much energy. And yeah, I think Nourish is a better choice to mass viral prime if you get hit, and it gives you more energy, and it also buffs your damage, since we're going to be relying more on the armor and the health regen from Arcane Reaper. And also, there is, I don't know if it's a bug or something, but using Eclipse and using just a regular Excalibur kit didn't really seem to be all that different. You know, I tried this and I tried that, and I believe that there is something like a bug with Eclipse, maybe, or something. It doesn't give me a ton of survivability, it doesn't give me that much damage reduction. I still get like 2 shot, you know? So yeah, I think Nourish would be a far better substitute here. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe there's something that I didn't do right. But yeah, at least in my opinion, I see that Nourish is better. It helps you keep your Exalted blade up at all time, and it gives you an extra damage type to your blade. And also, if you didn't know, the same way that Roar actually buffs the damage of your abilities, Nourish does the same. It adds viral to your abilities. There is a chance, like it's not always, but there is a chance that when casting Radial Javelin, I would be proccing IPS and viral. So yeah, that was it. Her damage is his Radial Javelin, because what it does is it usually just hits javelins to the on the enemies around you, proccing IPS. But with the augment, Furious Javelin, it makes it so every single enemy hit gives you increased melee damage, and you can get up to 1,000 or sometimes even 2,000 percent increase in damage, which is crazy. I've hit really stupid numbers just because of that ability alone. And his last ability is Exalted Blade, and it basically summons his Exalted Blade, and it gives you basically a ranged melee weapon where your attacks travel for a certain distance, and in that state, if you do a slide attack, then you get Radial Howl off, but at half the coast. And so, now we go check on the modding. It's Umbra. We gotta have the Umbra mods on him. And because Excalibur is more of a health tank than a shield gating for him, because if we do shield gating, it will be taking too much of our mod space. We cannot really do that. Like, we cannot really lean into that because we need as much strength as we got, or as we can get, and then we need the 3 augments. That's basically taking 3 mod slots off. So, first of all, we got Steel Charge in the aura for the extra melee damage. We got in the Exo slot, Warrior's Rest. It's only a mod for Umbra. It makes it so he doesn't fight when you leave him, but you gain 15% extra ability strength. And so you go, after that you go triple Umbra mods, and then we go Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, and Prime Continuity. Prime Continuity is mainly to break that negative from Transient Fortitude. And so we use Furious Javelin. It makes you get more melee damage per enemy hit, and it scales with strength. So that's one of the reasons we need so much strength on our Warframe. And then Chromatic Blade, which makes you change the element, or put an element on your on your Exalted blade that changes depending on the color of your energy. Or sorry, I think it's the emissive color of the Warframe, not the blade. And it gives you extra status chance, and that also scales with your ability stream. And you need more of that, like as much of that as you can. And so you can see he's kind of low on energy. He has like 200 energy or so. Or sorry, 250 or something. So what we do is that we use Arcane Battery because he has an okay armor status, and we go triple Umbra, so we have Umbral Fiber in there. So we gotta make use of that as much as we can. And Arcane Battery makes it so we gain an increased amount of maximum energy depending on how much armor we got. And that takes us to the second arcane. We use Arcane Reaper, and it's also for survivability. It gives us basically health regen and extra armor whenever we get a melee kill, which is gonna be almost all the time. You're gonna have to have your 4 on all the time, and so that's where this arcane comes into play. And now, please, Umbra mains, don't take my head for that. I got the mods for his Exalted Umbra blade. So, as you can see, I'm not using melee influence, I'm using melee afflictions. And to the part that people would be pissed about, I took off the 2 Umbra polarities on him because I think that this trio is much stronger than having the 2 Umbra mods in there. You got Galvanized Steel, you got extra crit chance that is less than Sacrificial Steel, but you get extra crit damage on kills. You got Blood Rush for more crit chance, and then you got Pressure Point that gives you just flat out more damage than Sacrificial Pressure alone. Because, you know, we already replaced Sacrificial Steel with these 2, so if we kept Sacrificial Pressure, it's gonna stay there alone, and we got 55% extra melee damage on Prime Pressure Point. And you can even replace Prime Pressure Point with Condition Overload. And so we're going to be using it. As you can see, we got Discipline's Merit. So what we do is we're going to be using it as a heavy attack weapon, because the heavy attack causes a knock-up. We use melee afflictions, and you'll see because of one element, and it does some crazy stuff. You're gonna see it in the gameplay section. So first of all, we modded our emissive colors to red. And so what we do is we use Shocking Touch and Virulent Scourge for the corrosive damage. We use Galvanized Elementalist for more status chance and status damage. And we put Northwind on here to get more damage. I know you could use any 60/60 cold mod, but Northwind would be better because it gives us more damage. And this one would pair up with the heat that we have on the weapon that gives us blast. And let's say the enemy gets hit by a heavy attack for the first time, he gets 7 stacks of blast on him. Sometimes even more, because our status chance is 179%. And with this, it could get above the 200. So maybe, just maybe, the enemy just get an instant 10 stacks of blast and blows up. And I know it's not as strong or as nukey as melee influence, but believe me, it feels much better to use. And so what we do is we summon enemies. We go 3 and 4. You just need to get Discipline's Merit running. And yeah, that's the build. Let me show you the melee influence build so I'm not keeping anything from you. The melee influence build is good. I'm gonna be using Blast and Electric, because in my humble opinion, Blast is much more fun compared to the gas, because I don't really like, I'm not really a fan of the gas electric. Like, we're too tired of that, right? So what we do, have the same build on Excalibur, only change the build on our sword, and yeah, that's basically what happens. But this cannot one-tap an Acolyte. That's the difference. Also, you'll see in the gameplay section, I'm using a different look on Excalibur. That's because I was testing fashion as well. If you want, I can drop you a little short with the look. You just gotta tell me in the comments, okay? And so, that was how I play Excalibur. And you basically can use any companion that, you know, like any primer companion. Like if I use my dog and just, or sorry, my hound, and just use something like the Condition Overload mod, believe me, it hits in hundreds of millions. It feels less like Excalibur and more like Atlas at that point. And as you can see, the blast procs just nuke them away. I don't know. You tell me how good or how bad it is. You tell me how it did. What I could change for better. And I think this is it for today. I leave you with the gameplay part. And till next time, have fun and good luck.